Hey, everybody. Thanks so much for joining us right here on The Right View. Tonight, we're excited to welcome back one of our favorite guests. He's an author, a filmmaker, and director of the upcoming film Police State. It'll be out this month. Dinesh D'Souza. Dinesh, welcome back to The Right View. Love having you on here. And I know I just acknowledged it before the show, but congrats on being a grandfather. Honestly, I feel like it is one of life's great things to be a grandparent because you get to have all of the fun with the kids. You give them back to the parents to deal with them, like feeding them, bathing them, and putting them to sleep. Real quick, just want to acknowledge that and ask how it's been going for your family.
It's a wonderful stage of life. My daughter Danielle couldn't be happier, and it just gives you a whole new perspective to see the next generation popping on the scene and kind of sliding you one generation back. So I think it's a wonderful experience, and it's just part of life and part of also getting a little bit older.
I don't feel like you're old enough to be a grandfather. As soon as I found that out, I was like, wait a minute, what? But nonetheless, you're one of the young cool grandpas, so don't worry about it. You're all set. We got to get to Police State. This is your latest project. Tell the audience about it. Honestly, everything you do, I feel like so many people follow so closely because you are sort of on the cutting edge of telling us what we don't know, but what we should know. What do we need to know about Police State?
Well, I think the big picture of it is that the United States, remarkably and rapidly in the last few years, has been moving toward becoming a police state. And we see this simply by asking what a police state is. You just have to look around the world. You have all these unfree societies, these tyrannical societies, North Korea, China, Iran. Of course, in history, we have the old Soviet Union. And then you ask, what are the defining features of those societies? Well, mass surveillance of the citizens, systematic censorship, indoctrination in the schools, the attempt to create a one-party state in which you kind of eliminate all effective opposition. You try to jail the leader of the opposition party. You criminalize dissent. You have political prisoners. And I say to myself, wow, we all have all that now in the United States. So I think all of this tells us that while we're not a full-fledged police state, in fact, in a full-fledged police state, I couldn't make this movie, we have a window of time to block and reverse and roll back the emerging police state, and that's really why I made the film.
Wow. I mean, you're right about, I think, that our country frighteningly moving in that direction. Actually, a recent Rasmussen poll asked Americans if they thought the country was headed in that direction, becoming more of a police state. I was shocked to find out that 67% of Democrats, 76% of Republicans, and 72% of independents actually said that that was a big concern of theirs. So obviously, this is not just something based on political party. We all feel like there has been some major and massive change within our society here in the United States. But Dinesh, how are we still heading down this path? If people are finally starting to recognize it, how is it that we haven't changed course so far? And how do we change course? What is the solution here?
Well, the remarkable thing with the Democrats is that some of them recognize that something is wrong. It's unprecedented in American society to try to launch a kind of battery of criminal accusations against the leader of the opposition party. We've never seen that kind of thing in our country's history. It's happening now. Similarly, censorship. I mean, one of the first phrases I heard when I came to America as a teenager was, I disagree with you, but I will defend to the death your right to say it. And I thought, wow, that's really the core meaning of free speech. You're allowed to say it. And even a political majority doesn't get the right to cancel out your right to free speech or your right to conscience. So all of this has now changed. And part of the reason it's changed is that the media has been putting out the relentless propaganda that we, the Republicans, the conservatives, the patriots, the Christians, we are trying to impose a police state. That's why, for example, Donald Trump keeps saying he's an authoritarian. And I say, wait a minute, if he's such a tyrant, normally the tyrant is running the police agencies of the government. Right. Is it fair to say that Donald Trump is running the police agencies, or is he running away from them?
Wow. I mean, it's so true. And I think that maybe that's one of the things that has awakened people in a way, right? Because we've really never seen anything like what has happened with my father-in-law the very clear targeting of one individual. And it's so obvious, I think, to so many people on both sides of the aisle. People are starting to have to admit this is genuinely what it looks like to be in a sort of authoritarian dictatorship of sorts. This is communist in its nature. I mean, these are tactics you would see from the Soviet Union, from China. And, I think it's really gotten people to pay more attention. I assume that you believe, as I think a lot of people believe, that the upcoming election in 2024 is maybe a good step to taking the country back and turning things back around from this point. Because I think for a lot of us, at least for me, it feels like if we allow the corruption we've seen, if we allow the censorship that we've seen to continue, then this country is not the same America that we thought it was or that it used to be. And I feel like a lot of it starts on November 5th, 2024.
The election, of course, is critical, but I think the reason this goes so much beyond that is because our police state is not confined to the government. It is an octopus that stretches across the government, many agencies in the government, and also the private sector. I mean, if you take something as simple as censorship, the institutions involved in censorship are academia, the media, the nonprofit sector, the digital platforms. So typically an academic will come up with a list of people to be banned. It might include you, it might include me. And
probably.
And then it goes to the Biden regime and they classify it. Well, Lara Trump said some election lies and Dinesh D'Souza said some COVID lies. And so the CDC gets involved and all these different agencies of government. Then instead of directly banning someone, which they can't do, they use intermediaries. So they hand off the list, the government does, to the Stanford Internet Observatory or the so-called Virality Project. And then those guys go to the digital platforms and say, hey, these are the guys that we need to have banned. The digital platforms and carry out. So, and then the media cheers. So look at all the different institutions involved that even go outside the immediate reach of the government. It's sort of almost using a middleman to do something that you, the government, is constitutionally prohibited from doing.
Wow, it's so frightening. You and Dan Bongino partnered up on this film. Is that correct?
We did. Dan, of course, is perfectly qualified because he's a former NYPD officer. He's a former Secret Service agent. And I wanted to bring him in on this project because this is a project that shows how the police state works. So we have a lot of informants, we have a lot of whistleblowers, insiders who can explain the kind of perverse architecture of the police state. But then I also wanted to show a lot of ordinary Americans who have felt the hot breath of the police state on their face. Because there are going to be Americans who say, well, I'm not Trump and I didn't go in the Capitol on January 6th and I pay my taxes, Dinesh, so I'm going to be okay. The FBI is never going to come to my door. I want to convince that guy, you could not be more wrong. Police states are very promiscuous in the people they target and attack. And in the end, really, no one is safe. In fact, once the jaws of the police state slam shut, pretty much the only thing you can do is run.
Yeah. Let me ask you this. I have seen firsthand myself the censorship on a whole host of different fronts, but I know within an industry like, the entertainment industry, they make things very challenging for people whose opinion they do not agree with, right? And obviously I would assume that the two of us would be among those folks. Was it hard for you to make a movie like this? Was this a hard project for you to work on? Did you find that you were kind of stifled at places because of your viewpoint here and the stance that you're taking?
Well, with the last film, 2000 Mules, I could tell that the theaters were really nervous, and they were nervous because the topic was election fraud. And similarly with this topic, police state, I was a little concerned that I would get a lot of pushback even from the theaters. But the good news is that they saw the film. And in fact, a couple of them stopped and called us while watching the film going, oh my God, this is unbelievable that this is happening right here in the United States. So the truth of it is there are a lot of people who are beginning to see that something is really wrong in this country. Now, what camouflages it for other people is that our police state is marching behind the banner of law, oh, Dinesh, we don't really want to go after Trump, but no one's above the law. Or, Dinesh, we don't really want to censor people. We can't allow disinformation. So, in other words, they use the rhetoric of saving democracy and upholding the law and fighting against untruths and disinformation. And so, once a police state is fully established, you don't have to do that. When Stalin was arresting people, they don't give you a reason. They just come hit you over the head and cart you away. But our police state is a police state, as I sometimes say, under construction. And so it's not there, and it doesn't have the support of enough people. So they have to resort to a lot of lies and a lot of camouflage.
Well, what do you hope people take away from this? Because obviously, I think it is something that should be highlighted. Certainly it's easy, like you're saying, for a lot of people to say, well, I heard a story about this, but like you said, it'll never affect me. This could never happen in my life. And I think everybody says that until the day it happens to you and you are a target or you are a victim of this really horrible situation that we found ourselves in here in America. What is the goal with this? Obviously, you want to inform people, but is there anything that you want people to do on the other side of watching this to maybe take our rights back here in America?
For sure. I mean, the beauty of a movie is that it goes beyond telling someone, because you can tell someone till the cows come home, and they are a little bit like the antelope or the wildebeest that sort of refuses to believe that there is an animal, a predator waiting in the trees. So I kind of feel like I'm sounding the warning that the herd is in real danger. The beauty of a movie is that you don't just tell people, you show them, you sort of take them there. And so what we do is we have body cam footage, we have surveillance footage, but we also have recreations. And so we will take a description of what happened. We cinematically recreate it at an amazing level so people can really, I think it was Orwell who described Big Brother as a boot stamping on your face. Well, people need to see that boot and they need to see it right up close. And so a movie has the power to do that. So it can wake people up in a way that just telling them about it is not going to suffice. So I think that the movie is going to be a very powerful cinematic warning to the country before it's too late.
I hope it's not too late. I hope you're right. Where can people see it?
So the movie's in theaters on 2 days, October 23rd and 25th. We bought out hundreds of theaters, but you can only get tickets on the website policestatefilm.net. There's also a virtual premiere, so you can watch from home on Friday, October 27th. Again, tickets at the same place. And after that, the movie will be available in streaming and in DVD. So there'll be many different ways to watch the film. But the place to go is the website policestatefilm.net.
Okay, policestatefilm.net. Dinesh, I have to tell you, I think everything that you're doing, everything that you highlight is so important. And really, you make such a big difference out there. I know you have so many fans, so many people who follow us on this show are such huge fans of yours. My parents, when I said, I'm going to talk to Dinesh, they said, oh, we can't wait to watch. You have made such an impact, I think, here in America with the way you have exposed things, the way you talk about things, the way you explain things to people. I just want to say thank you, honestly, on behalf of the country, because it takes a lot of guts to do these things. I know it's not easy to put out a film like this because you probably, until people see it, they probably say a lot of different things about it and have a lot of different notions about it. What ultimately drives you to continue? Because you really do target these topics that I think are integral to us retaining our constitutional republic. They're so important for the future of this country. What drives you to do it? Because it is so easy to just kind of take a back seat and say somebody else is going to do this, but you take it head on. I think it's fantastic.
I think I've never forgotten the first feeling that I had when I came to America, when I discovered that here's a country of opportunity and abundance, but also basic rights. The right to free speech, to conscience. And I was sort of thrilled to find out that these rights are not up for political negotiation. A majority of people cannot decide that you don't have a right to speak or you don't have a right to practice your faith. These rights are sort of, in a sense, inviolable, unalienable, as the founders called them. And then over time, to my dismay, I see that one after the other, these rights are now being called into question. In fact, none of our basic rights right now are completely safe. And so I thought to myself, if I'm going to make a film, people say, well, Dinesh, the FBI may come visiting you. I'm like, look, I'm going to make a fearless film. It's going to be fair-minded and thoughtful, but it's going to be emotionally wrenching and powerful. And it's going to scare people because this is what is happening in America today. And again, it's not just to Trump. It's not just to the Jan 6 guys. The ordinary citizen in your normal walk of life are now facing the threats of surveillance, of censorship, and even of criminal political targeting. It's a horrible situation. Fortunately, it's not too late. There's a Republican House, there are attorneys general and secretaries of state, there are governors, there are lots of ways to push back against the police state, but Republicans need to get tough and realize that it's time to spring into action.
Well, you are the best. Good luck with the film. Everybody, please go see it. Police State. Give us the website one more time, Dinesh, before we go.
It's policestatefilm.net. So not .com, policestatefilm.net.
We can't wait to see it. Congratulations. I'm sure another great one under your belt. Until next time, Dinesh D'Souza, thank you so much for being with us. And to everybody at home, as always, thank you for joining us. Make sure you like, subscribe, share, and follow. We'll see you back here next time for more of The Right View. Nothing is worse than being on a phone call that drops. Nothing is worse than trying to text someone and you can't reach them because your phone is out of service range. And nothing is worse than supporting these major corporations and companies who don't support us. That is why I love Patriot Mobile. They are America's only Christian conservative wireless network. They use every cell tower out there available to all networks so that they have the greatest 4G and 5G coverage nationwide, and they support the causes that are important to us as conservatives. If you go today to patriotmobile.com/Lara Trump and use the promo code Trump, you will get free activation today. Again, that is patriotmobile.com/Lara Trump. The promo code is Trump for free activation so that you can get a great cell plan and feel good about doing it. So I'm like a lot of people. I love to wear an Apple Watch, but I hate how it looks. And I scoured the internet to search for the best looking Apple Watch cases I could find, and I found it. goldandcherry.com. They have absolutely beautiful watches, as you can see here. Everything is waterproof. Everything looks good with different outfits. You can get sporty, you can get fancy, but they are great quality, made out of Delaware in the United States of America. And they have been kind enough to give me a promo code that I can share with you if you want to get your hands on one of these as well. It's Lara T, L-A-R-A-T is the promo code to get yourself a discount at goldandcherry.com. And not only do they make Apple Watch cases, they also make great products for iPads and iPhones, keyboards, your desktop, everything you could possibly need. goldandcherry.com. Use promo code LARAT so you can get yourself one of these today too. At The Right View, we're very proud of the fact that we are independent. We get to say everything that we think and everything that we feel. We have no woke companies guiding us or telling us what we can and cannot say. We are always going to shoot you straight and give you the facts as we know them. And that's why it's important to support independent outlets like The Right View. My name is Lara Trump, and I think Mike Lindell is a patriot. He is someone who loves this country, is willing to fight for this country. I love MyPillow because not only are MyPillows made in the USA by American workers, but they're great products, and they're so great that not only do I use them in my own bed at night, my children actually requested. My daughter the other day went to the closet and pulled out a MyPillow and said, "This is the pillow that I want to sleep with." And I gotta tell you, she loves it and will have nothing to do with any other pillow. So it's a big hit around our house. My dogs also happen to sleep on MyPillow dog beds. So all around the Trump household, we're big fans. If you go to mypillow.com today and use promo code Trump, again, promo code Trump, you will not only save money, but you will help us continue this show and other shows like it and help us continue the fight for the future of America. Inflation has impacted all of our lives. I don't think anyone can go to the gas pump or the grocery store without noticing that it is a major factor. And unfortunately, it's not going anywhere. It doesn't seem like it's going down in the way that we would like it to. And one way to protect your money is by investing in precious metals, gold and silver. That's always been a great way to make sure that you keep your money and you keep it safe. When you go to bh-pm.com, use promo code Trump. That way, if you decide you want to invest in gold and silver, you'll save yourself a little bit of money. We live in a time that's very interesting. A lot of us out there feel like a lot of our rights are slipping away. And if you're like I am and you want to have the right to choose whether or not to have a vaccine, how to live your life freely, and you're looking for a great doctor, I've heard amazing things about Dr. Sherwood. He's somebody who you should really check out and check into, and it'll help support this program and keep us going. So go to sherwood.tv and use promo code Trump. Again, sherwood.tv and use promo code Trump. You can save yourself some money and help us keep our program going.